So I could not think of an introduction to this video. So we got 5 hidden handstands. Watch this transition. Woo. And boom. So the first one that I'm gonna be talking about, this one's pretty easy. I think pretty much everybody who's watching this probably knows what a bicep curl is. So just when you're doing this, just make sure that your arm's coming all the way down. It might be helpful to move your armrest. With my other arm, I'm using either my wheel rim or my armrest to help hold me up. Also, both of my brakes are broken right now, so that's why I'm kind of just wobbling back and forth. But ideally, you would lock them and it'd keep you in place and help you stabilize a little bit better. So keep that in mind. It might also be helpful to note that your wheel does kind of get in the way when you're doing this. So just kind of do your best to kind of go to the side of it. It's a little awkward, but once you figure out that positioning, it honestly is not that bad. So this is just the single arm version of tricep pushdowns. First thing I'll point out is notice how my wheelchair is positioned by the cable machine. I've got one of the wheels actually against like the adjustment pull, and then the other one is kind of sitting on like the outside. Uh, Also, I use my armrest on the opposite side of the arm, which I'll show in a minute, to kind of brace my other arm against. That'll keep me upright. Um, and then also, I keep the other armrest like brought out to the side as I'm doing this to kind of open it up. You want to get your arm pretty much at a 90-degree angle, roughly, at the top of the rep, and then about as straight as possible at the very bottom of the rep. I also keep the handle kind of at the base palm of my hand, and try to keep your wrist as straight as possible as you're doing this. You don't really want to bend it, as that's going to create issues with your elbows and your forearms, which you just want to avoid altogether. Also, one thing to note is I put the cable machine about 2/3 up from the ground. If you put it all the way up, at least for me, I notice that I don't get as much stimulus towards my long head, which is what this exercise is primarily targeting. Ideally, you want to put it in a position that is going to be the most stimulating for you. So that might be a little higher, that might be a little lower. Just toy around with it and figure out what is best for you. So with this exercise, this is probably the trickiest of the ones from arms. Um, as you can see, Hayden's kind of sitting behind me. He's got his foot under my one wheel, and he's kind of just got his body positioned at the top of my backrest to keep me from tipping backwards. I've got the wheelchair positioned just in front of the machine, just enough so that I can get the full extension of my bicep at the very bottom of the rep without re-racking the weight, but also just enough to where I'm still close to the machine so that it's pulling directly as behind me as possible. Um, this other angle that you're looking at, you can see he's kind of got his hand on the handle, just a different angle for you to look at. I also, as you can see, am using my hand on the armrest to help keep myself upright. So if you actually have some other piece of machinery near another cable machine, you can actually do this exercise independently. The only thing that makes this a little difficult is your wheelchair is going to want to spin, and it's also going to kind of want to tip backwards. It also needs to be close enough so that you're able to get the cable machine unracked, but be close enough to the other machine to where you can kind of hold on to it and position yourself without it pulling you around. Um, so as you can see from both angles, I'm kind of wedging myself between this machine, and I'm using one arm to hold on to the machine, which I'm wedging myself between, to kind of keep myself in place as I'm doing the movement. So this last one's pretty easy. Again, I've got the cable machine positioned about where I had it for the tricep pushdowns. I've actually taken the handle attachment off, and you pretty much just unrack the weight, brace like how you did for push downs, and just pull the cable diagonally, straightening your arm all the way at the bottom of the rep, again coming up about 90 degrees, and kind of trying to pull the cable across your body. Ideally, you want it to be pulling across your chest, and you can kind of position yourself accordingly to try to make that happen as best as possible. Again, important to note, you want to try to keep your shoulders back as you're doing this. Specifically, retract your scapula, try to sit as upright as possible, and try to keep your elbow kind of glued to your side. Same thing goes for tricep pushdowns. You want that elbow to be stuck against your abdomen, right against your obliques, ideally so that you have the most stabilization and the most correct form.